My name is Jack Turner, and I've learned something about water. People think it's simple, still, harmless, but water connects everything, and when someone interferes with it, the consequences don't stay where they started. Old Ridge Lake sat at the edge of my property, clear water, deep basin, fed by a narrow upstream channel that most people didn't even notice. 2 Silver Creek estates. It was just a view, a place to walk past, a backdrop for their homes. To me, it was part of a system, a connected one. But Karen Whitfield didn't see it that way. To her, it was a problem, because I used it. Fishing early in the morning, quiet, undisturbed, something she decided didn't fit the image of her community. The first complaint came on paper. Unauthorized use of shared water feature. I read it once, then set it aside, because it didn't apply. The lake wasn't shared, and I wasn't part of their HOA. The second complaint came in person. Karen walked down to the shoreline while I was there. "You need to stop using this area," she said. I looked up from the water. "No, it's affecting residents." I glanced around. No one else was there. "It's my land." She didn't like that, because people like Karen don't respond to ownership. They respond to control. "You're going to cause problems," she said. I nodded slightly. "Not today." That was the moment everything shifted. Because when people like Karen lose control, they look for other ways to get it back. A few days later, something changed. Not obvious, not dramatic, just different. The water near the edge looked cloudy, slightly off. At first I thought it was runoff, natural, temporary, but it didn't clear, and the next morning it was worse. A faint sheen across the surface. Unnatural, wrong. I didn't guess. I tested, collected samples, sent them out, because water doesn't lie. The results came back 2 days later. Contamination, not extreme, but not natural either. Something had been introduced, something that didn't belong. That's when I started looking upstream. The narrow channel feeding the lake wasn't obvious, hidden between tree lines, running just behind the HOA's landscaped edge, and when I reached it, I saw the source. Recent ground disturbance, fresh uncovered soil, and a drainage line leading directly from one of the HOA's maintenance areas. Chemicals used for landscaping over-applied, poorly contained, washed straight into the water system. Not intentional, but careless, and careless is enough. Karen showed up while I was still there. "What are you doing?" she asked. I pointed at the ground. "This is feeding into my lake. It's just maintenance runoff." I looked at her. "It's contamination." She shook her head. "That's not serious." I didn't argue, because arguing doesn't fix problems like that. Documentation does. I took photos, samples, records of the drainage path, everything clear, everything connected. Then I made the call, not to the HOA, to the county, because water issues don't stay local. They escalate fast. The inspection came the next morning. Officials walked the channel, checked the soil, tested the water again, followed the drainage line back to its source, and then they stopped, because now they saw something Karen never bothered to check. That upstream channel didn't just feed my lake. It fed into a larger underground system, one that connected to the community's secondary water reserve. Not drinking supply directly, but close enough to matter. The inspector turned to Karen. "Do you understand where this runoff leads?" She hesitated. "It's just landscaping. It's entering a connected water system." Silence. That was the moment it hit her. Not completely, but enough. Because now, this wasn't about my fishing anymore. This was about the entire community. The response was immediate. Containment measures, cleanup orders, full environmental review. Everything moved quickly, because water contamination isn't something anyone ignores. The HOA couldn't control it, couldn't manage it internally, because this was bigger than them now, much bigger. Residents started hearing about it. Questions spread fast. What happened? Is the water safe? Who approved this? And every question led back to the same place. Karen, her decisions, her oversight, her push to fix something that wasn't broken. The board called an emergency meeting. Packed room, tension high. Karen trying to explain, trying to minimize, but facts don't shrink. They expand, especially when people are affected. Reports were presented, clear, detailed, undeniable. The contamination, the source, the connection, all of it linked back. She didn't step down this time. She was removed. Because when something crosses that line, there's no recovering from it. As for the lake, it recovered slowly, naturally, because water heals if you stop interfering with it. And every time I stand at the edge now, watching it settle back into what it's supposed to be, I remember something simple. Karen thought she could control something as basic as a lake, but all she really did was expose how little she understood about it, because when she interfered with that water system, she didn't just affect me, she affected everything connected to it. And once that truth came out, there was no way to contain the consequences.